Hey everyone, it's Amira and I am back for my Wednesday upload. So today we're going to extend out our little 3-minute video and make it a little longer. And we're going to talk about signs that you're working in a toxic workplace. Right now, and I think especially after the pandemic, with the great resignation, a lot of people are coming to the realization that work is not everything or work is everything and you need to be happy. Both are right, wherever you fall in, both are right. So you do need to be happy. And after a lot of the treatment and things that were coming out about employers during the pandemic, more and more people are saying, you know what? I'm not putting up with this anymore. Like, yes, I needed to pay the bills and be able to support my family, but I need to find something else. And that is okay. Sometimes the toxic workplace is so clear, you don't even have to question it. Other times it can be a little bit more like death by a thousand paper cuts. And we'll talk about a couple of those signs today in just a second. But I want to encourage everyone to think about your career, think about your level of happiness in your role. And do you see yourself there in a year? And if you don't, best time to look for a job is when you already have one. So, number one sign that you are also in a toxic workplace is that you're constantly tired. You're never rejuvenated. And that is a result of the constant stress that you're under and constantly feeling like you have to perform and you're burned out, but there's no breaks. Even if you take a couple of days off or a week off, you still come back and that energy immediately goes down. Sign that you're in a toxic workplace. If you have little to no enthusiasm about your job, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're in a toxic workplace, but if it's gotten to the point where you have noticed that you are so complacent and maybe your colleagues are also just don't have any enthusiasm anymore and they've kind of been beaten to the ground and it's kind of the low drum that's beating in the background, then you're in a toxic workplace. Because when you are in a positive workplace, yeah, you'll have enthusiasm because you want to do good things and you work with great people. I'm not saying you're going to show up and say, I want to have 50 meetings this week, but at the same time, you still enjoy the people that you work with, you enjoy the culture, you enjoy, working on what you're working on with that person or those colleagues. If you don't have that, time to think about whether or not you're in a toxic workplace. Third is high turnover. This speaks volumes. And I think a lot of companies try to justify high turnover as, people are rising in their career or the fact that people are able to move up so quickly or that's just the nature of job markets nowadays. That's not necessarily true. So if you're seeing that a lot of people are coming in and leaving, if it hasn't even been a year yet, whether they're leaving by their own will or they've been terminated, and every other staff meeting is oh, we've let this person go, or so and so put in their 2 weeks. It's time to start thinking about why people are dropping like flies. And most commonly, when there's a high turnover, there's a leadership issue. And if there's a leadership issue, that affects the culture, that affects everything you're working in. So it's time to pay attention to that. And if you can't seem to fill a position for very long, especially more senior positions, then it's time to move on. The next one is clicks. Now, I hate this, and I especially hate this as a natural introvert. So, a lot of times companies will reward the clicks and basically be exclusionary to anybody else. So usually the loudest person in the room, they get fed. But sometimes that comes at the expense of other employees who may want to contribute and collaborate in different ways, but you can't because you are not within the cool kids circle. And I hate saying that, but I definitely have been in environments where there were cliques. I personally did not care in that moment as long as it wasn't impacting my performance or my perceived performance. But it did because one person was much more vocal and comfortable in talking about some of these issues or issues at work. Sorry, I misspoke, but are more comfortable talking about things. And then you are not able to move on. Something else that comes with clicks is a lot of gossip. So if you notice that people are constantly bringing up other people and talking about their business, mm-mm. We are all adults. We should all give each other respect. And that is something that is very, very toxic in the workplace. And it's time for you to get out. We all left high school a while ago, some of us a long while ago. And there's really no reason for you to have to put up with kind of juvenile behavior and a lack of maturity simply because the cool kids get rewarded or you want to sit with the cool kids. Me personally, I never wanted to be with the cool kids, but hey, these their own. And then finally, stifled growth. If you are in a position where you are not going to be able to move up, you don't see a career track or trajectory for yourself, and your leader or your manager is not really giving you any coaching in your professional development, it's time to move on because they're not seeing, your potential, and your potential is unlimited. It's based on what you want to do. But if you are not able to see yourself, like, where am I going to be in 3 years? Am I still going to be in the same role? If you want that, sure. But if you constantly see stifle growth, or they change the rules for growth, or move the finish line constantly, that's another sign that you're in a toxic workplace. So I hope this helped. I want everyone to really just start thinking about what will really make you happy, because we spend so much of our time at work. And then that reflects on the person that you show up as within your family, within your friend circle, or even to your own self. So give yourself the time to think about, you know, am I in a toxic environment? Am I constantly feeling anxious about work? Do I feel like I can't speak up? Do I not know where I'm going to go? I really just don't care about what I'm doing, right? All of those are signs that it's time to go. So, again, thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe, and I will continue posting these videos. And again, if you need services, definitely reach out. Have a great day, everyone.